Good evening, my brothers. Today I want to talk about Sun Tzu, a military genius of his time, and how women have used his principles to completely devastate men in the hidden arena of mind warfare. Now, I believe that women use his counsel instinctively and not consciously in most cases. However, its effects are still seen throughout the world when you observe how men conduct themselves. The goal of this video is to inform men of the traps that the Western women lay in wait for unsuspecting males, walking blindly into a danger zone filled with a variety of multi-layered traps and snares designed to fleece, damage, and sometimes even fatally kill the target. If we analyze and dismantle each and every deception that women have laid in store for us, then we can tread through this life free from harm in all its forms: physical, emotional, financial, and psychological, women's favorite weapon of choice. Sun Tzu lived in 500 BC, where he eventually became the general of the Qi state. Marshalling an army of only 30,000 soldiers, he was tasked to fight the neighboring army, the state of Chu, who wielded a force of 100,000 men. Massively outnumbered 3-1, he successfully defeated the forces of Chu's army with ease by deploying a variety of stealth and deception tactics that led to Chu's downfall. He wrote the book The Art of War, which is now used worldwide today by a variety of people. Our United States generals use it for their own strategies and tactics, and even corporations are recommending it to their employees for the business world. Sun Tzu mastered the craft of warfare, and his teachings are more based on philosophy rather than specific tactics, which age over time and become useless as military technology evolves. The primary focus is how to control, manipulate, and maneuver the battlefield through deception. We are going to take his principles and apply them to women to show you why they have been so successful at manipulating men. You might be wondering, how can we take a book based on warfare and associate it to relationships? They don't call it a war of the sexes for nothing. Relationships are a battlefield of manipulation, deception, and control for authority. While men have been toiling away to contribute to the health and vitality of the family, women have been finding new ways to mold and manage men. Today, though, I hope I can show you how they use Sun Tzu's fundamental principles of warfare to reign in the sphere of relationships, and why women have been so impervious to criticism and inspection from the opposite gender. Principle 1. All warfare is based on deception. The most important principle in this entire video is this one. In order to control men, women first had to deceive them. But by what insidious deception did they employ to achieve this? They collectively decided to cover themselves with a myriad of different personality masks and then added layers upon layers to it. Behind one mask is another mask, and every mask has its own purpose and usefulness. The most commonly used one that most men are aware of today is that women are sugar and spice and everything nice, the divine angel goddess who has come down from heaven to bless us with her presence. This one serves multiple purposes and uses. It convinces men to become white knights in defense of their goddess and becoming willing sacrifices for her protection and provision. This mask born chivalry and women's superiority. If you want to know why it is you who has to embrace a cold death for being the wrong gender, then you only need to look at this mirage to see where that idea came from. What you get is a deep well of deceit and untruthfulness made to display a grandeur of illusions for the sole purpose of moving men like chess pieces to play a rigged game in which he is destined to lose. Governments do this with patriotism, and women do it with men's code of honor. Have you ever heard this phrase spouted from bewildered men that women are a mystery, and out of all the years I've known them, I still can't figure them out? That's because what men fail to see in women is one they don't want to see, and one they oftentimes refuse to see. The woman behind the curtain, the illusionist, the mesmer, the enchantress, the charmer, in which she uses all her resourcefulness and cleverness to get from her victim all the benefits and privileges she can. Men would rather believe the deceitful fairy tale of her unconditional love, beauty, and divine origin than the alternative, a cold, frigid abyss of reality where man finds himself where he never wanted to be, alone and with no helper. Truth comes from many sayings, one of them being this: a woman marries hoping her man to change, and a man marries hoping his woman stays the same. Before marriage, women put out on a play, a spectacle, the perfect little housewife, her sweet pleasant demeanor, the more often than not sexual fantasies you desire, an expression of interest for all the hobbies you enjoy. But it's just another mask, just another illusion, just another deception to move you into your own detriment. Notice the strategy being played here. She isn't forcing you to destroy yourself, but getting you to destroy yourself by believing in the mask she presents herself to be. Rather than killing men with the sword, women get men to fall on their own swords for women. Women operate on the level of image distortion, giving herself and you a false sense of her character. Remember this well. Men work in the realm of the direct, and women the indirect. Men will attack from the outside in, and women on the inside out. And it is this reason that they have brainwashed men so extensively that men are willing to annihilate other men for the protection and provision of those very same women. This is why women are a privileged class who don't have to sully themselves with man's work, such as digging ditches or mining coal, facing reality as any young aged boy will soon become well acquainted with growing into adulthood, because they have made men believe it is manly to do those jobs and play on men's pride. Then men even attack other men who refuse to participate on this one-sided affair. Women openly declare that housework is woman's work, and the women of the past ages convinced men to go slay the dragons, so you should too. This is why only men go to war, and why only men are held to higher standards in society for responsibility and accountability, while women, on the other hand, have clemency handed to them on a silver platter for their sins, and yet another privileged benefit granted to them from the mask of tears. Remember and study Briffault's law. If a woman talks to you, you have to question and ponder the agenda in which she is even speaking to you. What purpose do you fulfill in her life? Would she still be there if you stop giving her what she wants? The true test of friendship and loyalty. Here are some other questions to ask yourself. If you saw a woman in a burning car, would you rush in to save her? If that same woman saw you burning in a car, would she rush in to save you? Or would she watch you burn while yelling for the nearest man to take care of it? Hence, when women's lives are in danger, men who run away are cowards, but women who run away never can have the label of cowardice applied to them. Yet another benefit derived to women from the mask of weakness, and a handicap to men with the mask of shame for daring to value their own lives. So what is the endgame for women, and why the need for so many masks? Because it empowers women with the necessary tools for deceiving men, and it is for one sole purpose. For her to acquire from men all the rewards, privileges, and power, while in exchange condemning the man to all the sacrifice, responsibility, and accountability. Thus the game becomes rigged, in which the man does all the jobs she never intends to do, and she does all the jobs easy enough to get away with and still look like work. Once you understand this, you will come to realize why and how society operates, where men are more often than not getting screwed, and women are winning the lottery in turn. Not only are they winning, they want you to pay them for their slothfulness and carelessness, as they see men as mere objects to serve them. Nothing is more annoying to a woman than having the man you depend on having thoughts and feelings of its own. If only it would just give her what she wants and go away, she would be happy. Feminism is beloved by women today because it promises future rights and privileges to women at the expense of these men. Their own entitlement complex and narcissism, with a lack of empathy tied into men's suffering, shows no mercy or compassion on the affliction this spells for the men who are at the mercy of women's cruelty. This is why you are here, and this is why it is necessary for you to see women in their true light, to avoid this relentless attack on all areas of your life, from social, financial, psychological, to physical, emotional, and spiritual. Principle 2. In war, the way is to avoid what is strong and to strike at what is weak. Rouse him and learn the principle of his activity or inactivity. Force him to reveal himself so as to find out his vulnerable spots. Women are naturally weaker than men, so they will generally hit the targets from the shadows. Where in war one needs to find out the enemy's disposition to find his strong and weak points, women in relationships already know men's. The first act is intimacy of sex and love. Getting you to think objectively is not the goal, but to always have your focus and attention on her in a comatized love state. From there, she will begin to probe you for all your deepest secrets that only you know, which will arm her in future conflicts. Knowing your weak points emotionally and psychologically strengthens her position for future threats of blackmail if you do not comply with her demands. Your secrets will be handed over to the woman's gossip network, where every woman in her circle will know you like a book. They freely pass this information along to the sisterhood for easier management of the men in their social lives. It's a modern-day spy network. When a fight breaks out, she will often bring up these weak points to strike at your heart. However, she doesn't always go for the killing blow. Instead, she opts for a slower, more painful strategy, death by 1,000 paper cuts. Unless a woman is ready to move on to her next victim, her strategy is complete and utter dominance over her mate. She will whine, nag, and complain about all her dislikes about your personality and hobbies while promoting what she would prefer you to do. Eventually, if you stay too long, your defenses shut down, your resistance will wane, and you will collapse under the pressure. Slowly but surely, your fighting spirit gives away, and you are no more but the shell of your former self. Women pride themselves in what would appear to them a humbling process. Molding men is as a sport to them, and they do love a good man project. It speaks to their ego and tells them that they are indeed a truly good woman of quality to be able to destroy a man from the inside out. The goal is to get you to do what she wants by insinuating it is your place in life to take care of her. By giving her your secrets, you have given her the blueprints to your own enslavement. Now that she knows where to strike, the only question to ask next is when and how often. I'll leave this principle in the words of Sun Tzu. To fight and conquer in all your battles is not supreme excellence. Supreme excellence consists of breaking the enemy's resistance without fighting. Principle 3. You can be sure of succeeding in your attacks if you only attack places which are undefended. You can ensure the safety of your defense if you only hold positions that cannot be attacked. Since women control the social realm, they have trained their men to have undefended weak points in which he cannot defend himself or face extreme consequences. Hitting a woman is wrong, while a woman hitting a man is perfectly acceptable. Criticizing a woman is wrong, while criticizing a man is also perfectly normal. Men are given scripts to fill, to play in roles in which he cannot win and she cannot lose. Before feminism, women enjoyed walking down the streets while the men did all the hard labor building the infrastructure, a testimony to women's cunning intelligence. Men were often proud of their own slavery and lower social status, thus locking themselves into a prison in which women could not be questioned. It was a man's place to do the hard labor while the woman stays at home and does woman's work. Thus, women have secured for themselves a position that is unattackable by getting men to believe that manhood is strong and womanhood is weak. She'll let you believe you're the intelligent one while she is doomed to cleaning house and watching television. Women are also united by what we call today the sisterhood, a collective, as opposed to men who are divided due to their rugged individualism. In the words of Sun Tzu, we can form a single united body while the enemy must split up into fractions. Hence there will be a whole pitted against separate parts of a whole, which means that we shall be many to the enemy's few. The strategy is to divide and conquer. Often once a woman has her claws inside a man, she then forces him to spend all his time with her. Leaving friends and family behind, she isolates him and makes her his only support. Once his friends are gone and his family a long distance away, she has moved herself into a position of advantage while he himself remains alone. If he tries to reconnect, he will be shamed for not spending enough time with her and feign disorder to force him to stay. The result can be seen today as men willingly throw their lives away for women who care nothing for them and yet have all the political, social, and financial power in the world. In conclusion, I hope the knowledge of this video has better prepared you for the world that awaits you outside your door. I will end it with the words of Sun Tzu. If you know the enemy and know yourself, you need not fear the result of 100 battles. If you know yourself but not the enemy, for every victory gained you will also suffer a defeat. If you know neither the enemy nor yourself, you will succumb in every battle. And I saved the best for last. He will win who knows when to fight and when not to fight. God bless.